Everybody, welcome into another edition of the Roundtable right here on SportsBookReview.com. Taking a little bit of a break from our draft coverage. We got to cover this hot topic. And you know what it is? Tampa Bay loading up, but with older players. Obviously, we know Tom Brady down to Tampa Bay. Now also getting Rob Gronkowski yesterday for a fourth-round draft pick from the New England Patriots. A one-year, $10 million deal to Tampa. I got to bring in my panel right here. Gary Seegers, Jeff Nadu, and Teddy Safransky. We got to talk about this because it came together quick. It showed up on social media. Hey, Gronk might come back to, hey, it looks like there's a deal. So it's a done deal. It seemed like in a matter of a half hour. Gary, going to bring you in here first. Gronk to Tampa Bay.
This one surprised me. When you heard the O.J. Howard rumors that he's on the trade block, that was, I think, everybody's initial thought. Is Gronk going to come out of retirement for this? Gronk did not seem to hate retirement. He seemed like he was having fun. He's under contract with the WWE. He's hanging out at different parties all over the place. Obviously, that shut down. I'm curious if the partying stopping had anything to do with this. But I think it might have had something more to do with him not wanting to be in New England anymore. He had a year off. I think he's going to be okay. I'm just curious how much of the muscle mass that he lost can he put back on in time for the season to start. That's what I'm curious about. He's skinny right now. He doesn't look like the same guy. He's not a right now. I think it's going to be entertaining. I know that much. Gronk in Florida. I mean, there's not enough. Well, I'll stay off of that. But yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Now, God bless the NFL for this stuff because it comes out of nowhere, it seems like, and it always brings up a talking point because anytime you talk, Tampa Bay now, Tom Brady, even Rob Gronkowski, it is a lightning point. Jeff, yesterday, and I got to tell you, behind the scenes, Jeff and I talk all the time. I said, tomorrow we're going to talk about Gronkowski. And he goes, for what reason? I go, you better check Twitter right now because it's popping on Twitter and social media. But is it more of that sizzle or is it more of the steak here, Jeff, with him heading down there?
Well, yeah, because of his nonsense off the field, the guy still acts like he's 19. I mean, grow up already. I mean, the guy's 31 years old. He still acts like he's 22 at Xi Beta Pi on some campus somewhere. Grow up already. I'm sick of hearing about Rob Gronkowski. Listen, you don't want to get me started on this because I've talked, and I'm sure I have a feeling Teddy covers with that. If I know the way Teddy covers things, I think he sniffed this one out as well. But yeah, as far as my overall thoughts, I didn't even know what happened. You told me. And then I went and checked, and I saw it all of a sudden. But it doesn't surprise me. Did anyone really think he would stay retired for that long? He didn't necessarily come across to me as a guy who was just going to give up football forever. Maybe he needed to get the partying out of his system. And Gary made a funny point about now that partying stopping, is Gronk all of a sudden in love with football again. There's just way too many concerns on this team, and I'm sure we'll get into them here.
It's interesting here, Ted. I'm going to bring into this conversation because the joke is always, old people go to retire in Florida. Now getting Tom Brady, 43 years old. Gronkowski, look, 31 is young, but boy, he's been through a lot already in his career with so many injuries. And I know where we're going here, and eventually we're going to talk about some of these odds here. But Teddy, your first indication when you said, you know what, your reaction was Gronkowski headed to Tampa Bay.
I think it makes him better. I mean, it's not like Tampa Bay needed Gronkowski, okay? They got Evans, they got Godwin. You talked about Howard entering his final year of his rookie deal. It's not like they needed him. But with him, they are better. And now, let's not forget, for a smaller market team like Tampa, a team that wasn't selling out last year, now they're a draw. Not that they weren't a draw with Tom Brady, but with Brady and Gronk, they're an even bigger draw. How many uniforms are they going to sell? How many jerseys, et cetera? They'll make their money back from the PR side of this because it's Gronk, and Gronk's going to sell a ton of uniforms. Will he be effective? I can't imagine him coming back to be to stink, But all that said, how many teams have we seen take let's load up on the veterans, and it doesn't work out? It happens a fair bit. It happens sometimes where a team like the Broncos gets a couple of veterans and wins a Super Bowl, but more often than not, the teams that go old, it tends to be just postponing the inevitable rebuild. I don't think it makes the Bucs that much better than they already were, but it makes them somewhat better.
Teddy brings up some good points too, because obviously the NFL is a money marketing machine, and that's what they like. And keep in mind, folks, this took place on April 21st. May 9th is the schedule. If you don't think right now the schedule makers just saw that Gronkowski go into Tampa Bay and threw in an extra Sunday night or an extra Monday night football game, you're kidding yourself on this one, because the NFL loves this because it's going to get some more eyes to Tampa Bay. Let's swing it back around here, Gary. I'm going to start with you here. Obviously, we're gamblers here. So now we're seeing the moves in the market, and maybe you might be getting a correction from other places. What I mean is now they're 11-1 to win the Super Bowl. This is Tampa Bay, plus 475 to win the NFC, plus 150 to win the NFC South. And their win total, which was hovering in that 9 range, now goes to 9.5 and a minus 125 towards the over. So obviously, money is going to be coming in on Tampa Bay, even from Joe Public, to say, hey, this team is rocking and ready to go. But I also want to talk about some of the side effects that you get now with Gronkowski going down. Yes, it's Brady's boy. I've been a wide receiver in my life. Let me tell you, if we're looking at Mike Evans and Godwin on the outside and Gronkowski's coming to town, they're not saying to themselves, yes, this is awesome. You know what they're saying to themselves? Us selfish wide receivers, I might not get as many touchdowns now. Does this maybe, because only one football goes around here, talk about some betting strategies, Gary, that we might be able to look at. And also, is this maybe overload on offense? Because again, you only have one football.
Oh, they'll end up trading some of these guys out of here. They'll probably trade Howard. They may trade Cameron Brate. I mean, you want to have 2 tight ends. I think Brate they definitely need to keep because he can be a blocking tight end. Howard, I think, is essentially going to be the same role as Gronkowski. So there may not be any room for him left on the roster. I think Gronkowski is a fantastic decoy for these wide receivers. As far as the odds go, the over 9.5, I think feels good. Right? I mean, you would want to go over because Brady, I feel like even last year, as with all the flaws that we saw with the Patriots, I mean, they still won, 12 games? I mean, I think it's going to be the same thing down here. They've got a fantastic coach. If they got rid of the 39 turnovers that they had from Jameis Winston last year, I don't think Brady's going to get close to that, by the way. 9 fumbles and 30 interceptions. They would have won a ton more games last year. They were number 5 in defensive DVOA last year. So this is a really good football team. I think they're going to be fine. What I like the most about it lowers the odds for the New Orleans Saints to win the division. I still think the Saints are the best team in the NFC this year. I'm all in on that. I think this helps out Saints bettors and even 49ers bettors.
No, it's an interesting point you bring up, Jeff, and I'll bring you into this conversation because when taking a look at actually betting on Tampa Bay, maybe you're now getting a better value taking a look at the New Orleans Saints. And also, let's keep in mind, this isn't your normal offseason. This is Tom Brady going to a new system. This is Gronkowski going to a new system. So obviously putting in a new regime in place there from your offensive perspective might hinder you a little bit, but the initial prognostication yesterday was, oh my goodness, let's shift all these odds towards Tampa Bay because they're only getting better to win the Super Bowl, to win the NFC, and also the division. Are you buying any of this? You're going to be the one that sits back and says, wait a second here. Look, they're all of a sudden a 10-win football team just because they got Gronkowski. What are you looking at here, maybe betting-wise here, Jeff, with Tampa Bay?
Nope. I'm going to watch all the sheep go to slaughter, Donnie. That's what I'm going to watch, and I'm going to wait and hang around. Listen, at the end of the day, it would be great if Tampa Bay had a quarterback that wasn't 43 and in rapid decline. Am I the only person that didn't see Tom Brady play last year? He was horrid in certain games. He looked decrepit and old. His mobility, if he had any, was completely gone. He couldn't throw the football down the field. What are we missing here? I don't know what I'm missing. Throw in the fact that, as you said, you made an astute point. It's a totally new team. He hasn't had a different coach since 1999. Donnie, you know what else we didn't have in 1999? High-speed internet, iPhones, all sorts of different things. We didn't have any of that. It's totally different. It's a new coach. It's a new city. It's a new everything. And throw in the fact that we don't even know when these teams are going to be able to kind of do things again. It's just a weird thing. There's too many things to worry about. Also, keep in mind, I know Gary brought up this DO8AA or whatever it is.
DVOA, Jeff, get it straight. Come on.
Yeah, right. At the end of the day, and I love the people that say, well, again, I mean, on every possession, they were in terrible situations to give points up. This defense has been bad for a lot of years, guys. Stop. Let's wake up and smell the coffee. This team constantly gives up 30 points a game seemingly every year. They're going to have to win a lot of high-scoring games. Look, I'm a Jameis Winston guy, and maybe that's a lot of the reason why I'm bitter about this. I just think there's too many things. They also have no running game, and they haven't had a running game for a long time. And Bill Belichick isn't on the sidelines anymore. So I'll wait. I'll let the sheep all bet on the Tampa Bay Bucks. And then, and Donnie, real quick also, let's remember they got to play the Saints 2 different times. They got to play, the Carolina Panthers, who are better this year. Atlanta, we know their offense is really good. And you look at some of their out of conference and out of division games. You got Kansas City, Minnesota, Green Bay, LA, both LA teams. So yeah, I'll wait. I'll just keep betting against the Bucks.
Teddy, Jeff is driving this haterade train down the tracks. I got to tell you, I'm buying admission on this. I'm enjoying what I'm hearing here, Teddy. Tampa Bay, let's look at their betting prognostication coming up on the season, Teddy. Are we buying in with this value? And let me ask you this question also. Is there come a time where it might be saying that Tampa Bay would be the favorite in the NFC South, or is that too much to ask for at this point?
So there's going to be a lot of public money on Tampa Bay, and there's been a fair bit of wise guy money on Tampa Bay because they've gone from also-rans to contenders. Jeff said one thing that I agreed with 100% and one thing that I disagreed with 100%. So let me start with the thing I agreed with 100%. Tom Brady was not Hall of Fame Tom Brady last year. He was Tom Brady who kept the Patriots, who was not effective for extended stretches of the season. He's playing behind an offensive line that, in my mind, is a little dicey. I'm not sold on that offensive line. So you have all this sexy skill position talent, but you have a question mark at the quarterback position and a question mark in front of him. Defensively, Tampa last year, this is what I disagree with, Jeff. I mean, they improved night and day from where they've been. Bowles coaching up that defense. They were a monster defense last year. And you can rebut me. It's okay. But I saw a defense that looked head and shoulders ahead of where it was a season ago. And in my mind, that is a elite level defense, at least potentially. So at plus 475 to win the NFC, we're not talking about great odds right now. But we're also not talking about a league in which there's this one elite team they have to beat. There isn't. I mean, you have Kansas City on the other side. In the NFC, who are the elite teams? You have New Orleans. They got an ancient quarterback of their own. Who else is elite? San Fran? I mean, there's room to rise in the NFC, and I would expect Tampa to do some of that.
Just like a nice democratic debate here, we are going to go over and give some rebuttal time here. Jeff, I'm going to start with you first. 20 seconds to rebut Teddy right there. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, and did they make some strides? Yes. I think their front seven got better. They were very good against the run last year. But look, I know most people nowadays don't care about points per game, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, they gave up 28 points per game last year. That means the team they played against scored at least 28 on average. They were constantly in shootouts, and I think that coincides with the point Teddy made that I agree with wholeheartedly. They don't have a good offensive line. Tom Brady doesn't have, the big, did he ever have a bad offensive line in New England? Again, when you have a Ferrari, if you have no insurance on it, Donnie, at the end of the day, when you crash, it doesn't matter if you're in a Ferrari or a Honda. It doesn't matter. You crashed and you don't have insurance on it. They need to put insurance. And again, how quick does these great defensive teams sniff out these passing situations and make them run the football? They may have the worst running group in the entire league. Is that safe to say they're in the bottom 5? They've got to start to run the football. There's too many things that are going on outside of adding Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's been in decline wholeheartedly, as we know.
And Jeff, as usual, runs way over his 20-second allotted time, but opinions are wanted right here at sportsbookreview.com. What a great panel showing off all that knowledge on Tampa Bay and what to expect for the upcoming season. For Gary Seegers, Jeff Nadu, Teddy Savransky, I'm Donnie Seymour at sportsbookreview.com for everything opinionated in the NFL right here at sportsbookreview.com.